Well, these are interesting times for the India-US relationship. We've seen a lot of ups and downs, but perhaps things are getting more in order. But now there's this latest shock when it comes to H1B visas and Indians applying for those in the future. Joining us, a very special guest, Ambassador Tim Roemer, knows India extremely well. He's been the former US, he is the former US ambassador to New Delhi. Thanks, Ambassador Roemer, very much for being with us.
Always a pleasure.
Ambassador, now I do know that there's been an amendment and there's been a clarification, and so if you are in the US on an H1B visa, then you don't have to pay $100,000. But how would you respond to those who say that, look, I look upon America, with the hope that I can work there. I'm a green card, I have a green card visa, I aspire to an H1B. There are a lot of those people who feel that America is just not welcome for them. How would you respond to that concern?
Well, first of all, I think that in both countries, on both sides, the Indian side and the United States, we all need to take a collective breath. We all need to pause a moment. We all need to reflect on this absolutely historic trajectory in the depth and then the big difference in the relationship between India and the United States. How much has it improved over the last 25 years, from defense to technology to people ties to education? We are going through a little churning right now. We're sitting back down at the negotiating table on trade and tariff issues. And then, as you mentioned, this surprise announcement on a $100,000 fee on new H1B visas, not on existing ones, not on travel back and forth currently, but on new ones, causes a hiccup in the relationship. And hopefully, once we get through these trade negotiations, which are going to be, maybe promising, we're over $200 billion in two-way trade between the two countries. That was an earth-shattering number 15 years ago. Nobody thought we'd get to where we are today, especially in defense and technology trade. So take the breath. Let's get back down to the negotiating table. And maybe once we have some kind of economic progress on trade and a win-win proposition, then this H1B visa issue can be revisited.
Do you think one is linked to the other, that if India does conclude a successful trade negotiation or a trade deal, one that works for America as well, then this can come back onto the table, perhaps, as a negotiating point? It's been denied at this stage. Is that what you're suggesting?
Certainly President Trump's 25% additional trade tariff announced in late August was something that I think was a negotiating point to get people back to the table, to get the negotiations back on track, to try to make progress on a trade deal. Look, India has done a trade deal with the UK. They've done one with Australia in the last few years. Israel, they've come to some new negotiations with Israel. Certainly the United States, with all we have in trade and interests and technology, chip manufacturing, clean energy, this is something we can get to. Then the president will probably look again at this H1B visa. Two things could happen. The courts could weigh in. The courts may say that the president has overextended on this H1B visa. And the second thing is that Congress could weigh in and say, this is our purview. We are the ones that set the number of H1B visas. It's at 85,000 a year now. There is no real fee other than the 5,000. We want to take back our power, and we're going to have something to say about U.S.-India relations.
Ambassador, there's a knock-on effect of this as well. Any number of young Indians who go to the United States to study with the aspiration of getting a green card and then eventually living out the American dream, getting an H1B. Do you not believe that this can diametrically impact, at the very onset, the number of young Indians getting into American educational institutions, which could economically hurt America as well, considering the fact that the number of Indians as international students is the largest international cohort, among students in the world?
I agree with almost everything you just said. Certainly, this convergence of strategic vision about how the U.S. and India sees the world, we have come together over the last 15 or 20 years. We've seen China's rise as something that we have to keep a careful eye on. We've seen democratic values be something that both countries are very concerned about. We have strengthened our people-to-people ties. One of the great things about the U.S.-India relationship is we start our constitutions with the same very important words. We, the people, are in charge, not a king, not some kind of crown or anything else. So all those things strengthen this relationship. I believe as we sit down at the trade negotiating table, we also have to put two other things on the table to talk about and get through. One, you alluded to it. We have 300,000 Indians in our American schools. That is a very positive thing. It's positive when Indian students end up going back to India to work. They've had a great experience in the United States. That brings us closer, regardless of where they go. The second is many of these Indian students end up getting a master's and a PhD, and we can stamp that green card then on their H1B visa. I think we can do that to 15 or 20,000 students per year. That creates American jobs. That is a job multiplier for the United States. A great study, but all kinds of studies confirm this, but a really, really profound study about 15 years ago by Duke and the University of California said that almost 25% of new jobs in technology are created by these students that stay in the United States after they got a master's and a PhD, and they become CEOs. They're in the C-suite. They develop unicorns. They create business that then creates hundreds, if not thousands, of U.S. jobs. So that's something I hope President Trump will understand, that this is a good thing, not just for U.S.-India relations. It is a great thing for U.S. job creation. Manufacturing jobs are created in America by those H-1B visa people getting their masters and PhDs and staying in America. And it creates stronger links in the diaspora between our two great countries.
Ambassador, the other sort of negative which has emerged from an India standpoint in the last 1 week or so is America saying that as far as Chabahar port in Iran is concerned, it may be off limits because America may be sanctioning Iran even more. And therefore, the rights that India seemed to have, despite the sanctions which existed in the past as well, appear to be disappearing. Now, that's again a problem because Chabahar is a gateway into Afghanistan. India has, as you know, very deep strategic concerns and interests in Central Asia through Afghanistan. And therefore, is that not another setback in this relationship?
It's certainly something we have to talk about, and it's certainly something that both sides have to respect the other for their strategic autonomy, right? The United States needs to be able to say on occasion to India, as our good friend and strategic partner, we understand when we have set up a purchasing process with a cap on it for oil, and that India wants to buy inexpensive oil for their citizens, and we approve that process, that we're going to have some differences there, but it's not going to ultimately set back our strategic relationship. Same on the same hand, India gets all upset about the United States talking to Pakistan and accusing us of going back into some kind of a, hyphenated relationship or a pivot to Pakistan. We're just trying to have a good relationship with them, just like India wants to have a good relationship with China or Russia. There has to be more understanding on the India domestic side, and I hope India does not play the Pakistan card every time the United States wants to sit down and just smooth out their relationship with Pakistan. So we both have to be more understanding. We have to sit down at the diplomatic table, understand why we want to have different good relationships with various countries in the world, and then work through some of these other issues. And then, most importantly, reflect on how this relationship has grown and deepened and strategically made the world a better place. Defense trade has increased between the United States and India dramatically. Technology trade has, exchange of all kinds of new technology. We should sit down and negotiate a new AI and chip manufacturing partnership. We have the Quad, which has deepened and grown over the last 20 years. We have military exercises. We have clean energy arrangements. We have higher education. We have space arrangements. All those things, we have $200 billion a year in two-way trade. That was not on the table 20 years ago.
No, Ambassador, I hear you.
And things in mind, and let's sit back, negotiate, not try to get on TV all the time and call each other names. We have a great, healthy relationship. We're going through a little bit of a hiccup here. Let's iron this out.
All right, Ambassador, appreciate your comments. Let's hope these hiccups do go away, but it just seems that one positive step ends up being one negative step somewhere. And yes, there are sensitivities, obviously, on both sides, which need to be figured out. But thanks, Ambassador Roemer, very much for joining us with you.
Always a pleasure. Good talking with you.